A good Tavach, everyone, as we learn the Mishna Yomis for this Motzei Shabbos, as we begin the sad time of the year of the 9 days. And we are dedicated by the Fisher family, Nishmas Basi Bas Rabin, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, then Neshama Shirav and Ali. We're also dedicated to Nishmas Dav ben Chaim, Lufu Shalema, for Yomis ben Chayisar, Yaakov ben Bas Yaleah, for the schus of Avram and Yom Benish ben Malki Yehudis and family, by Yol Klugman and family, for the Panos Gzun Nachas. We learn for Avigdor Aryeh ben Rivka. We learn for Hinda Bas Chayisara, Chana Bas Shashabina, Rivka Bas Shiraleh. We learn for Avigdor, for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel. We learn for Yitzchak ben Sim ben Dusha and Meir ben Chayisara. They should have a refuah shalema b'seich shar chayli Yisrael. So the Mishnah now tells us in the fourth parak, we're going to finish the fourth parak tonight, Kachei Goyim. The kachim of goyim ein chayavim aleim b'shum pigel nois v'tamei. That means even though we do accept kachim from goyim, there's all kinds of halachas about it, but the din of pigel and noiser and tamei is prefaced in the Torah with ish mi beis Yisrael, and therefore, if while doing the shechita on a carbon of a goy or one of the four avodas adam, the kohen has in mind a machshav of chutzlas manai, there wouldn't be pigel. If left over its shelf life, there wouldn't be isakaris of neiser. If somebody eats it b'tumas aguf, there wouldn't be tumah. V'asheichton b'chutz, even though one of the 36 creases is shechting a carbon b'chutz, if you do the shechita of a carbon of a guy b'chutz, potter there's no carbon. This is the opinion of Rameir. Rabbi Yosi Mechayev, Rabbi Yosi holds that the pasuk says a riboy to include a carbon of a guy for pigel noiser and tamei. Dvarim she'ein chayavim aleim mishum pigel, things that there's no chiyuv of pigel, like we learned, for example, there's no pigel if one eats the kaimetz, because there's only pigel on something that has a matter. But over here, if somebody goes ahead and has the kmitza, so that's something where there's no chiyuv of pigel. Dvarim she'ein chayavim aleim mishum pigel, still chayavim aleim mishum noiser mishum tamei. If left after its shelf life or eaten with tumas aguf, there would be a chiyuv kares for noiser or tumah on the kmitza. Chutz min adam, except for blood. By blood, there is no iser of noiser. There's no iser of having a b'tumas aguf. Reb Shimon Aimer, b'davar shedarkan lehe ochel, but this is only something that is normal to eat, like the kmitza. Aval kegayna eitzim v'alavayna v'akatayris, but the wood, the frankincense, or the incense, ein chayavim aleim mishum tuma. It's only a midday that is fit for eating. Now, in this very yisaidistic Mishnah, the Mishnah says that the kohen that does the avodah, or even a zar who does the shechita, should have in mind the shem shisha dvarim. He should have in mind for 6 things. Ha-zevach nizbach, he should have in mind what kind of carbon is shisha dvarim ha-zevach nizbach. He should have in mind the shem zevach. He should have in mind what kind of carbon. Let's say it's a shlamim, for example. He should have in mind the shem zoyveach. He should have in mind that it should be brought for the person that's bringing the carbon. L'shem Hashem, he should have in mind that it's being done as an offering to Hashem. L'shem Ishim, he should have in mind that it should be consigned to the fire completely and not taken off the mizbeach afterwards. He should have in mind l'shem Reach, that it should give off a good smell. That means that it should be first roasted on the mizbeach, not roasted beforehand, and then put on the mizbeach when it won't give a good smell. And he should have in mind l'shem lichoyach, that it should give nachas and satisfaction to Hashem. Now, there is an additional kavana, v'achatas v'oshem, if it's a sin offering or a guilt offering, l'shem chet, he should have in mind what sin it was brought for. If it's a chatas, if it was brought for chil Shabbos, or for eating chaylev or dam, if it's an oshem, if it was brought for me'ilah, etc. Am Rabbi Yosi, Af mi shelo haya beliba l'shem echad mikol elu kosher. Even if the kohen is just blank, and he doesn't have any of these kavanas in mind at all, it's kosher. Should Tanai Bezdin, because this was a condition of Bezdin, that the person should not have in mind anything specific, because then you won't have the wrong thing in mind and invalidate the carbon. And this is especially important, because otherwise the one that brings the carbon can't ensure, he's the one that spent the money on it, he can't ensure that it should be done correctly, because the machshava doesn't depend on the one that brings the carbon, but rather on the kohen that does the avodah. And therefore Bezdin instructed you should have a blank machshava to ensure that you shouldn't have the wrong machshava. Okay, Rabbi Isai, what a wonderful night of Torah. We want to remind you that Emir Hashem tomorrow the daf will be at 8:45. We're going to aim to try to do a chayk tomorrow night as well. Hashem should give me the kayach. Remember that on Monday, anybody that lives near Lakewood or anybody who wants to come, we're having a siyum on Seder Nezikin in the Mishna Yomis. It will be at 6:45 at the home of One Valley Stream, at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Gedalia Engel, and you're invited to join us. It's also going to be a siyum l'zecher nishmas. I will speak about my father. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a good tavach.